A medieval artifact with great significance for Christians is shrouded in controversy, with doubts about its origin and age. Scientists have been investigating and revealing the truth behind this sacred relic, shocking many. The secret and hidden meaning contained within it are subjects of debate. The video invites viewers to uncover the hidden significance in the tin shroud. The highly controversial relic has sparked heated debates, even within the Catholic Church. Carbon dating tests indicated an approximate origin between 800 and 1,000 years after Christ, raising doubts about its authenticity. However, relevant information has emerged, shedding new light on its legitimacy. Allegations of flaws in the testing procedures have arisen, making the results questionable. Additionally, the raw data from the tests were kept secret for 27 years, raising suspicions of possible financial influences on the involved laboratories. The Shroud of Turin has been carefully preserved since 1578, and today is in the royal chapel of the Cathedral of San Giovanni Battista. Its impressive dimensions and the faint images that appear on its surface make it intriguing. The resemblance of the face to a man of 1.70 meters in height, along with the marks that seem to correspond to the wounds of Jesus Christ, add mystery to the relic. Although the Catholic Church has not officially declared its authenticity, it recognizes its significance as a symbol of the passion and death of Christ. Since the late 19th century, scholars have been investigating its authenticity, but have not yet reached a definitive conclusion. Although carbon dating tests suggest a medieval origin, the image on the shroud remains unexplained, challenging scientific understanding for decades. To this day, no one has been able to replicate the enigmatic image present on the Shroud of Turin. However, scientific advancements have gradually revealed new evidence that strengthens the claim of its authenticity. Barry Schwartz, a member of the original team that investigated the shroud and the official photographer of the project, was initially skeptical about the relic, thinking it might be just a skillfully made painting. During the meticulous analysis of the fabric, he discovered one of the most intriguing features: the shroud's ability to display a human form in 3 dimensions, despite its X-ray analysis method typically distorting images. Schwartz suggested that this interaction between the fabric and the body is the most plausible explanation for this phenomenon, dismissing the idea of a simple projection, as the image on the shroud shows no signs of pigments or artificial binders. Although they found no evidence of artificial manipulation, the radiocarbon testing conducted a decade after its initial investigation concluded that the shroud was a forgery. Schwartz highlights the 27-year delay in obtaining the raw data from the British Museum responsible for overseeing the laboratories involved in the radiocarbon testing, noting that such a delay in data disclosure is uncommon in scientific practice. Typically, scientists share their data for review and confirmation by other researchers, but in this case, the raw data was withheld for an extended period. Upon further analysis, it became clear why the raw data from the shroud was not immediately disclosed. The sample obtained was not uniform, showing different dates at each end, making it impossible to associate a precise date with the fabric. Additionally, the lack of control samples compromised the accuracy of radiocarbon dating on other parts of the shroud. Evidence of interwoven cotton was found at the site where the sample was taken, contradicting Jewish laws that prohibit the mixing of different types of fabric. This suggests that the shroud may have been repaired or remade at some point, making it impossible to determine its true age through radiocarbon testing. Doubts about the research increased when leaked information revealed that the shroud was medieval even before its official release. An anonymous donor funded a considerable amount to refute the shroud, raising suspicions about powerful organizations with an interest in discrediting it. Additionally, blood analysis on the shroud revealed AB-type stains, uncommon in the general population but more typical among Jews. The vibrant hue of the blood challenged its age, suggesting the intense pain suffered by the person wrapped in the shroud. The bloodstains precisely matched the movements of a crucifixion, indicating an unparalleled brutality. The dirt on the shroud included limestone from Jerusalem and pollen exclusive to the region, suggesting a connection with biblical events. Using advanced technology, researchers were able to date the fabric more accurately. Archaeological evidence, such as ancient coins and the sewing method, also corroborate the historical authenticity of the shroud. Anatomical details such as the position of the nails in the wrists correspond to the image on the shroud, further reinforcing its historical and religious significance. The physical signs on the shroud are remarkably consistent with the biblical narrative. Marks on the shoulders indicate moments of falling while carrying something heavy, possibly related to blood-stained wounds on the nose. A side wound, similar to a Roman spear, and the separation between blood and blood serum in the image suggest the authenticity of the crucifixion stories. Enigmatic inscriptions, interpreted as references to the life of Jesus Christ, were discovered on the fabric. These inscriptions were deciphered by experts using advanced optical analysis methods, revealing writings in Aramaic, Greek, and Latin. Barbara Frail, from the Vatican, argued that these inscriptions exclude a medieval origin, as Christians of that time would not have referred to Jesus without recognizing his divinity. The resemblance of the writing style to that of the first-century Middle East, where Jesus lived, further strengthens this conclusion. The origin of the image on the shroud remains a mystery. Various hypotheses have been proposed to explain how it was formed. Raymond Rogers, from the Los Alamos National Laboratory, suggested that direct chemical changes may be responsible, arguing that even moderate temperatures could have discolored the cotton threads. These findings and theories challenge scientists to understand how the image was impressed on the fabric, adding even more mystery to the shroud. The scientific explanation behind the image on the Shroud of Turin is subject to debate. Some theories suggest that the discoloration of the fibers may have been caused by a chemical interaction with substances released by the body. An initial hypothesis proposed the presence of ammonia, but was deemed inadequate due to the lack of clarity in the resulting image. Another theory suggests that lactic acid derived from sweat may have been responsible, creating dark images similar to those produced by plant substances. However, one explanation stands out, suggesting that ultraviolet radiation is necessary to transform linen into a photosensitive material but free from thermal radiation. This would imply an extraordinary amount of energy, far beyond what is currently known about UV radiation sources. Such an event could only be explained as a divine miracle. For many Christians, the shroud is a powerful symbol of Jesus' suffering and humanity's redemption. For others, it is seen as a hoax. Regardless of interpretation, the shroud transcends its physical nature and becomes a symbol of faith that inspires millions around the world. Additionally, there are expectations about the possible return of Jesus, bringing with him the Ark of the Covenant, considered the presence of God. However, before this event, it is important to understand the origin and history of the Ark, mentioned in the Bible as having a crucial role in the history of Israel. When the Israelites decided to take the Ark of the Covenant into battle against the Philistines, it resulted in disaster. After a harsh defeat, the Philistines captured the Ark, triggering a series of calamities in their land. The messenger who brought the news of the capture found the city of Shiloh in mourning, where Eli, the elderly priest, died upon hearing the news. His daughter-in-law, upon giving birth to a son, named him Ichabod, meaning that the glory had departed from Israel, in reference to the loss of the Ark. The Philistines, upon placing the Ark in their temple in Ashdod, witnessed disasters, including the idolatry of their deity and a plague of tumors and rodents. They then passed the Ark from city to city, each suffering calamities, until after 7 months they decided to return it to the Israelites along with offerings of gold representing the tumors and rats. The Ark was taken to the house of Abinadab and remained there for 20 years. During the reign of Saul, the Ark was present in the army, but was not regularly consulted. Only after the crucifixion of Jesus could Christians invoke the presence of God at any time. Before that, the Ark was the symbol of God's presence among the Israelites, as described in the Scriptures. For example, the priests carrying the Ark had to cross the Jordan River to enter the Promised Land. Joshua instructed the people to prepare, for God would perform wonders among them the next day. He promised to elevate their position in the eyes of all Israel, showing that God was with them, as he was with Moses. The next day, the priests controlled the rivers, so the Israelites could safely cross the Jordan River, carrying the Ark symbolizing divine presence. Later, in Jericho, Joshua was ordered to surround the city with armed men for 6 days, while the Ark of the Covenant was carried by the priests and trumpets were sounded. On the 7th day, the walls of Jericho fell when the people shouted according to divine instructions, demonstrating God's power. The same power of the Ark was confirmed later when the Philistines took it into battle, but ended up being afflicted by disasters until they finally returned the Ark to the Israelites. These events demonstrate the sacredness and divine intervention associated with the Ark of the Covenant. This is seen as a prophecy about the return of Christ and a reminder to prepare for the future. In the book of Revelation, a moment of great terror is described, where everyone, from leaders to slaves, seeks to hide from the catastrophic manifestations of divine wrath. Even if someone has made all physical preparations possible, such as food stocks, bunkers, and weapons, these measures will not be sufficient to face the day of divine wrath. It is an event of cosmic proportions, where even the earth and the heavens will be shaken. Paul and Peter warned about the unpredictability of this day, likening it to the arrival of a thief in the night. Jesus also instructed his followers to always be prepared for his coming. Just as we prepare supplies for disasters, we should also cultivate spiritual virtues such as righteousness, mercy, and humility, as taught by God. These qualities are not developed quickly but require a lifetime of dedication. Despite the terrible trials of the last days, God and Jesus desire to save as many people as possible. As followers of Christ, we will have the privilege of leading, showing compassion, and guiding those who survive through these tumultuous times. For 1,000 years, as mentioned in Revelation 24, we will be teaching others to build their own spiritual reserves, acting with justice, practicing mercy, and maintaining a humble connection with God. When the time comes for all, both small and great, to be resurrected and stand before God, we will be there to offer a hope that transcends time, preparing us not only to physically survive the end times, but also to glimpse a glorious future, free from death, pain, and suffering, as promised in Revelation 21:4. Prayer plays a crucial role in this spiritual journey, as it connects us with the divine and strengthens us. The book of James reminds us of the power of prayer and the importance of confessing our sins and praying for one another to obtain healing and forgiveness. Trusting in God's will and seeking His guidance at all times, both in good times and in difficult times, is essential. We conclude our prayer by trusting in God, acknowledging His sovereignty, and seeking to become more like Him each day. In Jesus' name, amen.